Every year, on February 14th, he would walk into our restaurant. Same time, 7 o'clock sharp. Same reservation, a table for two. And every year, he would dine alone. He'd always arrive dressed impeccably, a quiet confidence in his step, and he'd greet me with a gentle nod. I'd lead him to his usual table by the window, the one overlooking the bustling city lights. 2 menus, 2 water glasses, 2 place settings. I'd pour water for one, then I'd ask if he was ready for a drink. He'd order a glass of their finest red wine, and then a second glass. I would place carefully on the opposite side of the table. He never seemed sad, not exactly. More expectant, hopeful. He'd sit there nursing his wine, sometimes reading a book, sometimes just watching the world go by. People would steal glances, couples wrapped up in their own little worlds, probably wondering about the handsome man sitting by himself on the most romantic night of the year. I'm the head waiter here, and I've seen it all. But his quiet ritual was something different. It wasn't about loneliness. It felt like a promise he was keeping. My younger staff would always ask me, should I clear the other setting? And I'd always tell them the same thing. No, leave it. The table is for 2. He'd order a full 3-course meal for himself, savoring every bite. He never rushed. He'd engage in light conversation with me, asking about my family, remembering my son's name. He was kind, thoughtful, and a complete gentleman. But the empty chair across from him always held a silent, powerful presence. It was a space filled with unspoken stories, with a love that was either lost or hadn't yet been found. I never asked. It wasn't my place. Some stories you just witness, you don't pry into. And so, year after year, the silent tradition continued. His solitary Valentine's dinner for 2. This year, however, was different. He arrived at 7. Same as always. I led him to his table, poured the 2 glasses of water, and took his order for the 2 glasses of wine. He settled in, opened his book, and the familiar rhythm of the evening began. The restaurant was buzzing, filled with the low hum of conversation and clinking glasses. About 20 minutes into his meal, a woman walked in. She looked a little lost, glancing around the packed dining room. She had a warmth about her, even from a distance. She approached the host stand, and I overheard her asking if there was any chance of a table, that she hadn't made a reservation. We were completely booked. I was about to apologize and turn her away when her eyes drifted over to the table by the window. She saw him. And she saw the empty chair. She hesitated for a moment, then took a deep breath and walked over to his table. I held my breath, watching from a distance. She approached him gently. "Excuse me," she said, her voice soft but clear. "I know this is a long shot, and please feel free to say no, but is this seat taken?" He looked up from his book, a flicker of surprise in his eyes that slowly melted into a warm, genuine smile. It was the biggest smile I had ever seen on his face. He looked at the empty chair, then back at her. He closed his book, placing it on the table. "Actually," he said, his voice steady and calm, "I've been saving it. Please, sit." She smiled, a look of relief and gratitude washing over her face. She sat down. He signaled for me, and when I approached the table, he said, "My guest has arrived. Could we get another menu, please?" I simply nodded, my own smile impossible to hide. That night, they didn't fall into a whirlwind romance. They just talked. For hours. The food went cold, the wine was forgotten. They just shared stories and laughed and listened. It was simple, unhurried, and beautiful. For the first time in all those years, the table for 2 felt complete. And as they left together, stepping out into the cool February night, I had a feeling that next year, he wouldn't be making a reservation for one. Sometimes, the greatest love stories don't start with a spark, but with the quiet patience of an empty chair, just waiting for the right person to ask if it's taken. If this story touched your heart, give us a like and subscribe for more. See you next time. The heart remembers what the world forgets.